Ashton, your host, and this is our podcast, Africa Investing Stories. Today we have a lady who was born and raised in the UK by Antiguan parents. She's had a great upbringing when it comes to education. She's also travelled the continent of Africa. She's managed many employment roles during her career, assisted in public authorities to implement law in policy and practice, started her own legal consultancy and training business in 2000. She's trained around 15 police forces after the famous Lawrence inquiry, ran formal investigations representing clients in employment tribunals and other courts, and sat on police misconduct hearing panels. She has a great love for Africa. She has hobbies, many sports hobbies, sprinting, gymnastics, and also includes reading, traveling and shopping. Okay. She moved from London to Northamptonshire in 1989 and stayed there until she moved to Gambia in 2016. What a great lady. She's attended comprehensive schools and then did law degree at University of Warwick after work, and studied a legal practice course at University of Central England, Birmingham. She's also done a master's at UCLA University in Lancashire. The list goes on. And outside of her academic, has studied for a Black leadership course at Imperial College, where studied successful leader skills. She's at present a single lady, so guys, she's on the market, and she has 3 wonderful children who are growing up now, and has invested in many other projects in and throughout Africa. So without further ado, I introduce Shakina Chinedu. Oh,
should I help you?
Yes, help me, please. The name, sorry guys, I've been struggling with this name. I'm not the best when it comes to names, and she's got a very cultural, nice name, but I'm messing it up. So you can, so over to you.
Hi, Simon. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
So let me help you with the pronunciation, which is very easy. It is Shakina Chinedu.
Thank you. Shakina Chinedu.
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 Yes.
So Shakina.
I'll help
Chinedu.
you a bit. If you say chi and then nedu, Chinedu.
Chinedu.
That will help you, yeah.
Okay, Chinedu. Okay. So Shakina, what is a typical day like for typical day in Gambia for you?
Wake up, go on my veranda, look out at the beautiful weather and the animals and listen to the different sounds. That's really nice. Then come back in, make a herbal tea concoction. And then breakfast might be either a healthy porridge made with some homemade milk, or a bowl of fruits, which are locally grown that I can obtain here. So that's how a typical day starts. Then I might have a number of things to do in my diary. I might be in court one day. I might have to go and do some site visits where I'm building. Might go and do some land deals, other meetings, meeting people, helping them, advising them, how they can move to Africa. Different things really, but a variety according to what's in my diary each day. But always very interesting, always. Every single day is interesting.
Okay. So going on to some of the actual activities, how do you, obviously you've had your legal practice. I take it it's no more in the form of England, but you've transferred your skills and expertise over to Africa. So how do you help people in Africa?
What I do here, I help people. So when I say go to court, I'll represent people at court here who have maybe got disputes over land or contractual issues or housing issues, maybe an eviction orders, things like that. So those are the type of things I can go to court and plead on behalf of, particularly returnees who have had a challenging experience here in the Gambia.
What kind of experience would that be?
Well, if I just think about some of the cases I've got now, one where, well, actually, no, that's been judged already, hasn't it? There's an eviction order that's still going now where somebody's moved into somebody's house without their authority and it's difficult to get them out. There's a land dispute that's coming to an end now. I'm just waiting for the judgment, but because of this corona thing, I think we're being adjourned, but we'll see when that comes back. So that's a judgment that I'm expecting in the next 2 weeks or so. And also any issues again regarding any debt orders, people have taken people's money, said they're going to do something, they haven't done it. And, they might have had some sort of contract, whether verbal or written, and, you go to court and, you try and plead that case as well.
So similar, more or less the same kind of cases you would be dealing with in England, apart from the...
Very, very similar, very similar. Though I did a lot more employment law in the UK. You don't really do any of that here. It's more just the civil contractual matters here more than anything else.
So speaking of employment, do you employ any people out there?
Oh, I do, definitely. I have a small building company and I employ quite a lot as subcontractors under my umbrella, but they all have their own business, but I find work for them as well. So plumbers, electricians, builders, all those sorts of people, borehole drillers, and just make sure that, can keep them in work. But when we're building houses, we could have maybe 15 people on site at the same time. So that's 15 families that are able to, pay their fees, etc.
Okay, that's good. We had a slight connection problem there, but it
yes,
seems
I
like
just saw that on screen.
It sorted itself out.
Is that your end or my end?
I couldn't tell you. I know our Wi-Fi in here is very good. I cannot comment on the West African side of Wi-Fi, so I have not been there yet.
Well, mine's is usually quite good too, so yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What made you make the decision to invest in Africa?
I've never been comfortable in the UK, even though I was born there. It's not a place I've been comfortable there because, we're always reminded in one form or another that we are not British, if you want to call it that, English, we're not accepted there. So I was never interested in growing old gracefully or disgracefully in the UK. So even from a very young age, I knew that I wasn't going to retire there. My initial plans was to retire in Antigua, where my parents come from. But, on visiting Africa, I liked it here so much. I decided that this would be the place for me and changed my retirement plans and retired here instead. And I think it's important to invest in Africa because Africa's our land. And, if we don't build Africa, somebody else will come in and build it, but at a cost to us. So I think it's really important that we bring our skills and monetary capital to Africa. So, it's not just about bringing the money to Africa, it's about bringing the skills as well to create money in Africa. And I think, if we don't do that, we'll have as we can see now, a second round of colonization in Africa because, we haven't come here to do things, but the Chinese, the Indian, everybody else, they can see the value in Africa, but we still need some convincing on that.
No, I understand that. I have family members myself who have no intention on ever coming to the motherland.
Yes.
They're very happy with their little island, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
Whether it's been England or Jamaica and the Caribbean. And it's quite sad, but I think in time people do come around. you have to usually get the right family member out there, and they do all kind of
Mm-hmm.
marketing for you when they get back.
Yes, that's
And
true. That's true.
in that respect, and then everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon. Mm-hmm.
But you know, Africa's not for everybody.
That's very
And
true.
I'm only beginning to realize that now. And like you said, it is sad. I used to get really upset about it, you know, if people didn't want to come to Africa and stuff. And then I realized that, you know, back in the 20s, Marcus Garvey said, you know, it's not everybody that's going to want to come. And those that don't want to come, you have to leave them.
Mm-hmm.
As sad as it is, you have to leave them because they don't want to come. Maybe they will wait until things get really, really bad before they run off, you know, in a haste. But those of us that have heeded the call, will come and will enjoy what's rightfully ours.
I think there's two ways to look at it. And I would go with the second way, where it's not sad if everybody doesn't want to come, because
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have ties and network in both places. So if
Mm-hmm.
everybody went to Africa, then any new technology that we're not up onto speed on, you're having to deal with other groups of people, let's say. But
Yes.
where you have, you know, just like the Indians and Jews and the many other cultures out there, where they can just deal with people anywhere in the world because they have people placed here and there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a great idea,
Right.
in that respect. Yeah, the other way is it sad? But I think everybody wants to see that safari that David Attenborough always speaks about.
Oh, but that's not
Yeah,
all of
I
Africa.
know it's not all of Africa, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things you can only get in Africa.
Yes, definitely.
You know, so that is something for
Yeah.
people to be interested in.
I think people have got to accept Africa for what it is. We had a celebration a few months ago, and one of the speakers said, you know, if you want to see Africa in a particular way, you create that type of Africa. And I'd never thought about it in that way before. But, you know, if we want to see Africa in a particular way, it's up to us Africans to make that happen. We can't depend on anybody else to do it for us.
What's been the most valuable lesson you have learnt?
Oh gosh, to be grateful for what I have. Now, let me explain that. Not that I haven't had, because I've had a lot. I've had a very privileged upbringing and life so far. But I think Africa humbles you a little bit. And, you know, you realize that some of the materialism that we were running for, killing ourselves for in the West, was really just almost brainwashing us or stopping us from being more creative. And I find that in Africa, not because you can't have the niceties, because you can if you want to, but it also makes you realize that you can be more creative with your surroundings and what you have. So, you know, you might look at different materials, natural materials that you can use in building, or I don't know, recycling things more, instead of just, oh, I can throw away that handbag and get another one. You know, why not just cover it in African cloth or something like that? So it does help you to be a little bit more grateful for what we have been blessed with as a people, in terms of the resources, the surroundings that we have. You know, maybe not to waste things so much, because, you know, you don't need to waste things here, because you realize that some people have and some people don't have. So, you know, that throwaway culture and everything that we might have been around in the UK or other places, that we realized we were just really being a little bit selfish at times. So it's just about realizing what we have, being grateful for what we have, especially having so much of nature giving us what we have. You know, every season there's a different food to eat, which is really nice. We don't have that luxury in the UK, and we can pick it straight from the tree. I'm vegan, so I don't eat meat and fish. But, you know, even the people that eat fish, they can go to the sea, to the fishing village, let's say, buy their fish, and within an hour it's on their plate. Yeah, really fresh, not something that's been in the deep freeze in Tesco or Sainsbury for months and months. Again, the meat is fresh because, you know, the animals will be slaughtered you know, maybe early in that day, and then you buy the meat in the afternoon. And as I said, you know, we've just come out of watermelon season. We're in orange season now, and I'm watching the mangoes like a hawk because mangoes are coming soon, and you know, they're my favorite. So, you know, you're looking forward to all the different things that you can eat that keeps you healthy, and you know, just makes you really grateful that in Africa we've got a lot. We don't have to go out and buy everything.
Yeah, pineapples are my favorite. I love the
Oh
pineapple.
gosh, yeah.
And because
I bought 2 the other day.
we're next to, I was based in Kenya, and because we're next to Uganda, we kind of get a double season, because
Ah,
Uganda's season's different, slightly different from Kenya's.
right.
And Ugandans have a different kind of pineapple as well. I didn't realize,
Mm.
but their pineapples are big. But Kenyan pineapples are
Oh,
good as well. But
okay.
I just have to say that a lot of my listeners are Kenyan. Yeah, in that respect.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding buying land,
Hmm.
for foreigners, is that a hard thing?
No, not at all. There is a rule about how much any one person can buy, which is 50 by 50, which is about half an acre. So let's say if I was a single person buying, that would be my limit in one transaction. A couple could buy, say, 1 acre, which is about 100 by 100, which is a massive plot of land anyway. But otherwise than that, even if you're not a citizen, you can still buy land here.
Is it leasehold, freehold?
Both. You can buy both.
Okay, that's good.
You can buy
Really good
both.
to know.
I've got a number of estates here. Most are freehold, but one is leasehold.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, where are your estates located? Are by the ocean or inland?
Well, because Gambia is a small place, you're never very far from the beach at all, or the river, because it's a small, you know, it's the smallest mainland country in Africa. So it's very, very tiny. It's just a slither of Senegal, really. So you're not far. So where I've got estate number 1, 3, and 4, they're quite near, literally across the road from the beach, and maybe 10-minute walk or drive to the beach. Number 2 is near the river and the forest, and number 5 might be about 20-25 minutes to drive to the beach.
Okay.
So as I said, not very far at all to get to the beach.
So are your estates part of your business empire, as in your like timeshares, that kind of thing? Or?
No, it's not like that. Well, it started off as, you know, somebody gave me an opportunity to sell 40 plots of land, and I took it, and it sold within 3 days. And I thought, wow, it's amazing. People really want to come home. And then I started getting more and more inquiries, and, you know, do another estate that would go very quickly, so on and so forth, until now I'm up to number 5's just been sold as well. So what it is it's all empty land, and then all the buyers will decide what kind of house they want to build on there when they're ready. But I will facilitate that for them as well.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, sorry.
Are these buyers who will live in there for permanently, or they just come there for holidays?
Some might come and go because they might be, you know, have some people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, different ages. Some that are, you know, say over 50, they might come permanently because they might retire. Some might go and come every 6 months because not everybody likes to be in the rainy season. Some of the young people might build their house and use it as a rental income to start with, and then move out later on because they might want to still stay in the UK to, you know, earn their money. So it's different people come in here for different reasons.
Are they what niche? Where's their background? Are they like from the Caribbean, brought up in England, or are they
Um,
just any and anybody?
yeah, some from the Caribbean, from, you know, Caribbean parents. Some were born in the Caribbean. Some are American. So really, anywhere where I'll say our ancestors were taken and people want to return home, that's where people are coming from.
Yeah. So you've got an ever-growing market then.
Very,
Yeah,
very,
that
yes.
sounds really good. That's good to hear. Is there anything you would do different from your move to Africa, to Gambia?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Now, why would I want to live in the UK at this age?
No, just to make sure I understand, make sure.
There's
When I,
nothing there.
no, what I'm referring to, I've probably posed that question slightly wrong. When you moved there, was there any
Hmm.
experience that you think now, if I had known what I known
Hmm.
now, I would have done that differently? I would have still moved, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't have whether trusted this person or done this with my money or anything like that.
Right. I've been very, very fortunate. You know why? Because I'm a very cautious person. I can be spontaneous, but I think about things very carefully. So I've been coming backwards and forwards for 15 years here. Yeah. It took me 3 years to buy my first plot of land
Mhm.
because I wanted to check all the land laws. I spoke to a couple of lawyers, this, that, and the other. I want to be very, very cautious. So, you know, I haven't had the experience where I've given people money and didn't get my land or my papers, whatever. I managed to do all that quite smoothly. In terms of building a house, I am building, but I waited until I moved here permanently. I didn't start that while I wasn't here. And this is why I offer the service that I do, where I will be the project manager on site for people, because I've heard the stories over the years, and those stories are avoidable if they've got somebody genuine to help them. So I try to do that for people, you know, and give them the advice that they need. And I would always say to people, plan, plan, and more planning. You know, if you want to move here, yes, do that. You think about when you want to move, when can you leave your job? You know, are you going to sell your house or rent it? You know, are you going to bring children with you, or your children grown up? You know, are you going to retire? Have you got medical issues that you need to go backwards and forwards? You've got to put everything into perspective and think about when is the right time for you to leave. I had a plan for 12 years. And I decided to leave. My plan was, as soon as the last child finished university, that would be my cue to go.
Okay.
So that's what I did 4 years ago. I moved permanently.
I like what you're saying. I like what I'm hearing. And from my personal experiences, I totally understand.
Hmm.
It's probably your nature of being a lawyer, and I don't know, maybe being a mother. I'm not sure, but I'm I've had a interesting experience, to say the least.
Mm.
It's not my time, so I won't speak of my
Oh,
experiences. But yeah, you're right. It's planning, as we say in the military. Fail to plan. No, prepare. Yeah, one second. Fail to plan, plan to fail,
mm.
and that kind of thing. So if you don't
Yeah,
plan, if you don't do your due diligence and your reservations, of course you're going to have people out there who will try and take advantage of you.
of course.
Yeah, and it's one of
And
those.
it's no different, is it, to, you know, you got cowboys in England, you got them in the Caribbean, you got them in Africa. So if you were cautious in the UK, I would say still come with that cautiousness to Africa, because people are people wherever you are in the world.
Mhm.
It really doesn't matter.
Is there anything you miss about England?
I miss my children, but I'm on video call with them every day. I mean, this morning we were on video call for over an hour, and we were just, because I didn't even remember it was Mother's Day. So they rang me bright and early, and we have jokes on the phone. So much so, you know, the kind of jokes where your eyes are watering when you finish. So me and my daughters were on video call this morning. So when I get that, I feel as though they're here with me most of the time, because I'm on the phone with them every single day, whether by call, video, text, whatever it is. We're just there. And my son, I spoke to him yesterday, text me this morning. So the children are there with me all the time. I speak to my dad every week. I speak to my brother regularly. So no, I don't miss anything.
Okay, that's good. What was the biggest trial when investing in Africa?
Um, I think the biggest thing I want trial, I would say not so much investing, moving. As much as I had planned to move here, I was happy to move here. I still had a bit of anxiety before I left, because it's a big move. You move into another continent. on your own, and you've got to build your house and all sorts of things, and of course you're fearful of some of the challenges that we spoke about already. So I remember I was happy and anxious at the same time. So those were funny emotions to go through. And I had to shake myself off one day and say, Shakina, come on now. Your parents left the Caribbean when they were teenagers. They went to England. It was very hostile. And, you're older, much older, more experienced, wiser. You can do this. And I just made up my mind that, this is going to happen. It's going to work. I'm very much a believer in ancestral powers. I spoke to the ancestors. I said, you've got to look after me when I come down here. And they've done so very well. And I just shook myself off, dust myself off and said, okay, look, nothing to be anxious about. This is your home. By hook or by crook, you're going to make it work. Because I have no intention of returning to England to live. I don't want to, not at this age.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Do you wish you made the decision earlier in your life?
I thought about that, and the answer is no, because everything happens at the right time for the right reason. And I think if I'd come earlier without the planning, without the experience, other people's experience that I'd listened to, maybe I would have had some challenges. It wouldn't have been very nice. So I think coming at the time I did was the right time, because I came armed with a little bit more experience, because over the years you hear people talking, oh, I had this challenge, I had that challenge. You think, oh, I don't want to go through that, I don't want to fall in that pit. So it made me stronger and wiser. So it was the right time for me to come when I did.
You said you help in legal representation and you have your business, but what was your actual plan of business when you went there? I take it many people go say, oh, I'm going to move to Africa. I hear it all the time. But I always turn to them as someone who's spent over 10 years there myself. And I say,
yes.
And then what? And what I'm really saying to them is, what are you going to do? Are you just going to sit down and
absolutely
drink mango juice or coconut juice and chill out? Or are you bringing a skill, trade?
Yes.
What was your initial plan when you were moving there?
My initial plan, because I had retired, but I'd started a business before I left the UK, which was a health business. So promoting healthy eating, but also manufacturing skincare, natural skincare products with no chemicals, no preservatives. So that's what I was bringing to Africa, because it was about healing our people using what we've got around us, like, shea butter, black soap. So instead of buying these shower gels and creams that are not good for our skin, I was trying to promote, using of natural ingredients, raw ingredients from the continent, but also using essential oils as the healing element of those products. And I did start doing that when I first came, but then it seems as though the ancestors just did a 360 shift and, brought me to what I'm doing now.
Okay. Are you still doing the, oh, sorry, you just said you're not doing it anymore.
Still doing it, but I just do it to order now more than bulk.
Okay. What's the website? Give us give your website a shout out.
Oh, gosh, I've got to remember that. Hold on a minute. Sometimes, with these web addresses.
Yeah, you should have that ready, sister. You should have that ready.
I should.
Promote yourself.
I know. So it's nubianhealth.wix.com/skin-care.
Okay. What we're going to do to our listeners, that's going to be in the link below as you're listening to this episode, so you can click on the lovely lady's brand and support the cause. I'm not sure she ships overseas, but maybe if there's a high enough demand, she will.
I can do. We do have a post office service here, so I can do.
Okay, that's good.
I have a Facebook page as well. So it's www.facebook.com/Nubian Health.
Okay, there you have it, guys.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Gambia to go to?
I didn't choose Gambia. Gambia chose me. It was purely, I don't know, it came about without me even planning it. I went somewhere, I saw a leaflet for a trip. You know, there were people that do organized trips. So there's a man called Basil Links. He was doing organized trips years ago. And I went and saw a brochure somewhere. And I thought, oh, I'm going to that. And as I said, sometimes I can be spontaneous. And I just phoned up, booked a trip, and I came, and the rest is history, as they say.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I moved, like I said, I moved to East Africa. I know most people I know from Britain and America end up in West Africa, due to our cultural history of the
Yes.
whole slave trade, and that's the region that we're originally from. Have
Yeah.
you found that you are treated any differently as somebody who's come to Gambia? Do you feel that you fit in 110%? And I say this on the note that I've interviewed other people, and one person in particular who's very pro the diaspora has said, you must understand, you will always be, I don't like to use the term outsider because that's not what his actual term, but you're not one of their tribe. So
That's absolutely true.
you're accommodated, but you know, it's like you have to form your own tribe. kind of thing.
Yes, and that's true. The analogy I use is, you know, we were all in a big house. Some of us were stolen away and raised by foster parents, which is the West. And when we come back home, we're not recognized. We look like totally different people. We act like different people. We speak like different people. We eat like different people. We've lost our culture. So we're not recognized. You know, whether we were Mandinka, Serahuli, Aku, you know, Wolof, it doesn't matter. We're not totally recognized because we have been westernized. We've been raised by these foster parents and they've given us their culture. So even though, you know, our skin looks the same, you know, sometimes people will just come up to me and start speaking Wolof or Fuller or whatever and say, oh, I thought you were, because we've still got those characteristics. But we are not Africans born on the continent. So we are different. And, you know, we have to celebrate that difference. You know, eventually, maybe some of that westernization will be gone. But for now, we have it. We make no apologies for it because, you know, they've been working on us a long time. And, you know, we will get rid of some of it eventually, but maybe not all.
I personally see it like you learn from everything, even if you learn not what to do. And I don't see our experience in a negative eyes. I see that everything we've gone through has built us up into the way we've influenced the diaspora of the world today, as us being like Marcus Garvey as the first Pan-Africanism and all of those kind of things. And we bring a lot to the table and they learn a lot from us. And
absolutely.
So I see that, yes, we can still learn many, let's say, ways from them, but also what I found is that they are trying to mimic the West and kind of forget their own. And we're trying to embrace what they are, trying to find where we've come from. And for instance, I would happily wear the African clothing. So I think it's very practical for the hot part of Africa I was living in. Well, they wear tight jeans and a polyester shirt, which is totally impractical for a hot climate.
It makes you sweat.
How on earth do you do that? And,
you
know, it's great. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. Actually, I think you look better in what your cultural colors and but then you know?
But you know, we've both had that experience of, you know, we were raised by the Westerns through slavery. The Africans were raised or influenced by the West through colonization. And still, being influenced by that. You know, this is why skin bleaching is still quite, you know, prevalent down here. People thinking light skin is better, as you said, you know, want the Western way of life more than their own culture, things like that, because they're still being influenced by that Westernization, even to today.
It's what a real positive thing I found is that many countries, quite a few countries in Africa have actually banned bleaching now. The government has recognized that it's not a good thing and it does mental, psychological damage to why people want to do that. And he's just said no, which is great. Obviously, there's going to become a black market for it. But generally, the fact that they can acknowledge that, no, it's not acceptable is a great thing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of countries have banned it, but I think the difficulty is enforcing it. That's the difficulty. It's the enforcement of it, because, you know, I still see it in Gambia every single day. You can see, you know, people come to me for me to make creams for them to help their skin, etc. It's so sore, it's so thin. And although I can't bring the skin back to what it was originally, I can only make a cream to soothe it, so that it's not so painful.
So that damage is irreversible then?
It's irreversible. You know, the skin gets very thin, especially if you've been bleaching a long, long time.
So
it gets very, very thin.
So it's like you were in a fire then?
Absolutely. If you notice what happens, the women go red, and then over time, those red patches, their burns, they actually start to go black. So it defeats the object eventually, because the light skin that they wanted, they might have it for a little while, but the more the skin burns, it actually becomes black.
So it's black with burnt, not with the natural melanin.
Exactly. And then they can't go out in the sun because the skin is so thin. You know, once you've had burns, you know, they'll tell you in any burns unit, you've got to protect that area of the skin from burns, from the sun. So a lot of these women, you know, they find it difficult to be in the sun. So you can't even enjoy your natural surroundings because you've damaged your skin so much.
You should do a podcast on this. I would personally support you and post it to my listeners. I
haven't got time for things like that. I don't even have a YouTube channel. I haven't got time for things like that.
Okay. You'll be surprised how much business you get through a podcast. But okay, moving on. So do friends and family come to visit you in Africa?
Yes, definitely. People love it. And I think once my house is finished, more will come down. My children come to visit, and they'll come more once the house is finished and everything, because that's their little piece of Africa.
How is their mindset before and after?
Well, my children grew up like me. I tried as much as I can to emulate what my parents did to me, very Pan-African home. You know, telling my children they were African, giving them African names from the time they were born anyway, and just encouraging them to embrace their own culture as much as they can, which they have done. So it's not alien to them. It's not alien to them at all.
Did they was that their first visit to Africa?
Where did they go first? They probably went Tunisia and Morocco first.
So sub-Saharan Africa or lower Africa?
Well, I just call it Southern Africa.
Yeah, Southern Africa. Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah, Southern Africa.
Like a true lawyer.
I don't believe in sub, because that's putting in our mindset that we're below, especially to Tunisia and Algeria, Morocco, those places, you know, who think, oh, you know, they're better than us because they're Northern Africa, they look a bit whiter, whatever it might be. We're not below because we have all the resources and everything else and the rich history down here. So I'm not sub. Sub means below, and I'm not below anybody.
Yeah, so Southern. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? Going back to that question, their experience for Southern Africa, what was their mindset before and after? Did you notice a change?
Not really, because they'd been to the Caribbean, and if you know the Caribbean, you know Africa without even visiting. It's very similar. Very, very similar. So, you know, the dirt roads, the houses, different types of houses, you know, different things in the shop. You just learn to embrace it.
How many African countries have you been to?
In Southern Africa, only two, which is South Africa and Gambia.
Okay. I only ask because I've traveled most of East to Southern and the Northern, not the West or the Central as of yet. Furthest Central I've been is Rwanda, and it's great the diversity that you see, and you see the resourcefulness of what people are doing from the culture, old traditional way of living to the modern way of living, and it's just a big eye opener. There's so much opportunity I see.
Well, I noticed that in South Africa. I think South Africa is very, very built up. It almost looks like the UK in some parts. But Gambia is still very rural.
Okay.
It's a rural country, what I love about it.
What part of South Africa did you go to?
Johannesburg.
Okay, yeah, Johannesburg. I was actually gonna move there. That was a toss-up between Johannesburg and Mombasa. I chose Mombasa because it seemed more freer, and I love the heat all year round. I don't want the cold weather thing. But I love my South Africa. I speak to certain people, and I always say where I would be now if I was still in SA. But you know, you made your bed, you lie in it.
Yeah.
Has your mindset changed since you've moved to Africa?
In terms of what?
In terms of anything, whether it is business, whether it's a personal mindset, whether it's like, even for me, I went through a phase where I was very charitable and I wanted to help everybody. And I believe that was a big kind of subliminal thing from what I saw on TV. And then I realized that you can't live like that, because people are usually in a position as adults because of their own actions. And I see people who are very resourceful, like the hawkers, and they work every day, God sent, and their thing. And then you've got the kind of beach boys and the working girls who don't want to achieve anything, but they're always at your beck and call if they think they can get something for free. So my mindset changed. At one point I became very, very hard. And I speak to my friends, expat friends out there, and we kind of acknowledge that you go through a phase. You go through a very happy, charitable phase, and then you have mishaps, whether they're your own doing or contribution to many different things, and then you kind of go for a chill out. Just you kind of, it's like you've gone through kind of like a puberty stage in life, and you're just like, I know the game now. You know? And
no, I understand what you're saying. I suppose because I've been here a long time, backwards and forwards, I got to understand the dynamics. Now, I don't believe in just giving our people charity for the sake of it. I think that's setting our people up to fail, because we're not a charity case, but we are an opportunity case. So for me, I'd rather give somebody a job than to put my hand in my pocket and just give them money, and then the next day they're still in that same position. I rather, you know, as the saying goes, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You give him a fishing rod, he eats for a lifetime. I rather stick by that. And that philosophy has come from a lot of the reading that I've done over the years, from some of our African scholars, in terms of what do we need to do to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. And that's what I believe in. I don't believe in IMF loans and World Bank loans and, you know, the do-gooders coming down and, oh, we can help you, but they're taking a lot more in return. I believe that we should be decorating our own house in Africa, and we can do it. We've got the skills, we've done it before, and we can do it again. So if we sit there with our begging bowls around the world, that's when people take advantage of us. So I believe that, yes, we can do some charity, but not the type of charity where it creates dependency, because we're not dependent people, we are independent people.
I personally have a rule, and it's just charities for kids and babies. It's not adults.
Yes.
Sorry, kids, babies, and disabled people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Disabled people are. It doesn't include the Western disabled people, because you have every opportunity. The government will give you a car with a special steering wheel and a car that you can wheel your wheelchair in, and you got disabled access. So it doesn't include that. But when I go overseas, yeah, it's disabled people and children and babies.
I agree with that. I agree. Those boundaries need to be set. But you know, if you're a grown man or grown woman, you got 2 working hands and 2 working legs, you can work. You can work, and you should work and be proud to get those wages that you've earned yourself. And I don't mean through, as you said, through following tourists, selling yourself for money. I don't, you know, believe in that at all. But it's about holding your head high and being able to work for what you earn. And I believe that we, the returnees, we can create a lot of those jobs in Africa when we return to Africa, and also help Africans to create more jobs as well, because we're bringing certain skills. So we can collaborate and we can work together.
What would your advice be to someone who wants to invest in Africa?
I would say talk to people that are experienced in Africa. Listen to their stories and listen carefully, and don't diminish it. Don't minimize it, because we're talking from experience. So if we give you advice, we know what we're talking about, but get advice first from people that, you know, have been here. We've done different things. We know what we're talking about, and listen to that advice, and then go away and form your own opinions and actions after that. But, you know, we're always here for support. We have something in Gambia called the African Diaspora Returnees Association. And that's something I started when we started the citizenship program about just under 2 years ago, where we decided to lobby for citizenship. And I realized that we also needed support for our people coming down. So, you know, they might need to hold your hand a bit to set up a bank account, get their tax number. And it's those sorts of things that we help people with, you know, finding a house to rent or to buy, or, you know, buying land, different things that people might need advice on, you know, where to go for certain things, you know, what schools, you know, how to check out the schools, different things like that. People need different advice. And so I have a Facebook page, and I try and put a lot of information on there that, you know, people might want, you know, when they're coming to live or visit Africa.
Okay, that's great. That's another link to add to the bottom of his head. That's great. That's another link I'm gonna be able to add to the bottom of this episode.
Yeah.
Did you have to convince any loved ones that move into Africa or investing in Africa was the right things to do?
No, I think because my family knows what I'm like, I'm very Pan-African. So they knew that I wasn't going to be 60, 70 in the UK in that cold. They knew that I'd either be moving to Antigua or somewhere else. So when I told them that I was moving to Africa, it was like, it's typical of you.
They're not surprised.
So there was no convincing at all. In fact, you know, it was like, yeah, just do your planning and go when you're ready. Very, very supportive. Didn't have any challenges. You know, my children were very good about it. They were like, Mum, just, you know, as soon as the last child finished university, it was like, yeah, Mum, just pack your stuff and go when you're ready, which I did. And they've been very, very supportive ever since.
Have they spoke about coming out there to live with you?
Not yet, because, you know, they're still in the middles of their careers where they want to earn their money and do other things. But later on, yes, it is a place that they might come to live as they get older, or go somewhere else.
I have a question that I always ask is, did your education status help you? But I think clearly in your case it did.
Help me in terms of what?
In the whole process of what you're doing now in
Yeah,
Africa.
definitely it did. It did. But it wasn't just the education, it was the mindset as well. Having drummed into me from time I can remember, maybe since I was born, that I was African, I should be proud of myself, etc., etc. That really stood me in good stead throughout my whole life. To be confident that, you know, nobody's above me, you know, don't let anybody intimidate me. And as an African, you know, I deserve the best. And so that has really helped me throughout my life. You know, I'm not subservient to anybody. I don't care what position you're in. You know, you don't intimidate me.
Would you encourage other people to invest in Africa?
Yes, I would. I would. Definitely. Because if we don't build Africa, other people will come in and build it. And then we can't complain. Because if we're not doing it and other people come, and what can we say? We can't say anything.
And my last question for today, it's been a great having you on the show, is if you had to do it again, would you? And I believe I know the answer to that.
Listen, Simon, if you know how happy I am down here, this is like, when they say living in paradise, it really is. You know, it's so easy here. I can take a day off when I feel like it. I tell people all the time, I'm retired, but I work almost 7 days a week, but I can rest when I want to, and I can work very hard when I want to. I love work. I'm a workaholic, but the work is enjoyable. I'm not stuck in an office behind a computer or around a boardroom like I was in the UK. Wasn't, you know, nobody micromanaging me and all this stuff. I'm free. So it's really, really nice that, you know, there's a diversity of work. You know, I look in my diary and say, oh, I've got this to do today. I might not finish till 7 o'clock in the evening and start at 9 o'clock, but I walk around with a smile all day. I enjoy the work. It's so nice. So why would I not want to be here? You know, I've been retired 6 years now, and, you know, working for maybe 30 years before that or more. But this period is really, really good. This is nice. No stress. Just take it in my stride. I can have a Netflix day and chill if I want to, and just say, oh, I'm not putting anything in my diary today. I can go to the spa. I can go to the beach. I can do what I want when I want.
Yeah. That sounds great. That's great. And I was just thinking, when you said Netflix, it's probably the most popular thing in Europe right now because everyone's stuck indoors.
Yes, exactly.
So it's so popular that they said they had to lower the quality of their streaming because they can't get enough people on there at the same time. So, you know, they can't even get the engineers out to work. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's been great having you. I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot of your experience. I feel that I'm going to need to call you back at some time to do niche interviews on, like, from body lotions to the investment to the law, because there's a lot you have to share. And I think, like you said, you don't have time for podcasts, but I, of course, do, because it's a knack, really. I do short interviews, even if I'm in a taxi, I just whip out my phone and interview somebody for 10, 15 minutes or half an hour, however long it goes.
Yes.
And once you get used to it, it's okay. You may have the setup at home, but it's great. But I'm more than happy to have you back on the show. Like I said,
what I'd like to share also is that I believe in creating a bridge for our people if they want to come to Africa. So I said to you, the first estate was 40 plots of land. And, you know, just about a year later, I'm on number 5. So I do help people if they want to come home and build or whatever they want to do, to buy the land, make sure it's all legal and legit, and then build their house if they want to. And, you know, that is a real comfort for people because they've got somebody on the ground that can look after their business while they're here, so they don't experience negative challenges, which they can do while they come here. So that's why I work so hard the way I do, because there are a lot of people that want to come home but not sure what to do, you know, have trust issues because they, you know, don't know anybody here, etc. And that's why I offer the service through Nubian Legal Consultants and Building.
Well, thanks again.
You're welcome.
And we look forward to having you back.
Okay, and I'll leave you with my email address.
Yes, that's much